How is it going then, everybody? I hope you're all doing very well. Welcome to another video here on our channel. I'm the FIFA analyst. Today I'm bringing you something very different and very new to the channel, and I hope you guys enjoy it. What we're going to be doing today is we're going to be speaking with a pro FIFA player, Dullen Mike, to see how he went from being an Elite 3 player to winning a FUT Champions Cup, and is now signed for Wolfsburg, has represented the German national team, and is at the top level that you can get in competitive FIFA. We are also joined by Roma Zelonius, the head coach for Roma, and also West Ham Jambu, pro player for West Ham. If you do enjoy it, please let me know by dropping a like. Put your thoughts down below. We do have in the background just loads of gameplay, so this is something you can probably pop onto the side and you want to be listening more than anything for all of Dullen Mike's kind of tips and tricks. If you are also interested, this has come from the Underdog Gaming Patreon as part of a service that I do offer with Jambu and Zelonius to help you guys get better at FIFA. You can go and check that out. A link is in the description if you want to hear the full podcast along with all the extras of videos, daily advice and tips, and kind of direct contact to myself, Jambu and Zell. Link is down below to go and have a little look at that, but I hope you guys enjoy. Did you used to love back in the day, Mike, like the Brazil teams that you used to be able to build?
Yeah, I think I started playing Ultimate Team like FIFA 13, so I missed FIFA 12, which like most players say was the best one. So a bit heartbroken about that one, but I think like FIFA 13 for me it was just fun, like building teams with many skillers. I still remember like Elia, left mid Bundesliga team 352. He was so good, and that's like when I still had fun in the game. Then like FIFA 14 until 16 I had zero fun. I didn't even want to buy FIFA 17, and like just
Are you glad you did?
Yeah, like then FUT Champions brought me back into it, so it was kind of the competitive thing that got me back into it, but I feel like now it's just the one mode missing where you can just play hours a day for just fun.
Yeah, definitely. Speaking about you and FIFA 17, I think Zell's got a couple of kind of questions. Obviously, we want to have a conversation about how you improved, how you got better, and all that sort of thing. So was it on FIFA 17 then? It was your first, obviously, that was when FUT Champions came out. Can you remember what your first weekend league finish was?
Yeah, I think it was Goal 2 back
Really?
on PlayStation 4, yeah.
It's
And I was so happy because I pulled Kyle Walker, I think, and it was like 60k. And I was so happy about I could improve my team. And
I was going to say, was that when not lots of money went onto the team, so you just had an average squad?
Mike had an awful team when he made his first event.
Really?
Jambu can tell you about when Mike made his first event.
Well, I remember at the event, Zell was sat behind me. We were arranging a friendly with Mike, and we look over at his team, and he's only gone and got normal Manolas. And this was at the event. You can pick any player you want. We were sat there thinking, what is he doing?
Yeah, but Jambu, I want you to tell us about the game that Mike played to make his first event. Who did he beat?
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that.
He beat Jambu, for anybody wondering. But yeah, I remember saying when, because I think I'd already been knocked out of that qualifier. I was watching Jambu play, and I'd heard of Mike. I think I played you, Mike, on in August on FIFA 18.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
I think so.
Yeah, I think I'd played you on 18, and I recognised you'd been top 100 on 18. But then when you played Jambu on FIFA 19, it's fair to say you wasn't a big name in the scene like you are now, and everything that happened on FIFA 19 to you. But I think you had Quincy Promise in your team in the first qualifier.
Yeah.
Your team was awful.
Yeah, like FIFA 19 was like the first year I could compete, and because on FIFA 17, in the end I hit top 100 a few times, and then started back of Elite 3 in FIFA 18. So when I hit top 100 in FIFA 18 in the end, I thought it was just gonna start again with Elite 3 in FIFA 19 for me. So I just loaded up, I think, 12k FIFA points to play draft. So I think I had like 1.5 million coins for my team for the first qualifier, because it was like with the verification, so you had to hit 27 wins, and I managed to hit 28 in the second week, I think, which gave me top 100 rewards and stuff like that. And yeah, I was playing with Ben Yedder in form, Griezmann, like the gold promise 83 rated. And
I remember seeing your team, and I think I said to Jambu, like, Jambu's team wasn't that good, but I think I said to Jambu, like, I don't know Mike that well. I think he hit top 100 monthly on 18 at the end of it, but I was like, you've probably got to beat that team. And then you played him. I swear,
he was unreal. He was unreal.
Me and Jambu said to each other, "This kid's going to be amazing if he's that good."
Yeah, after the game, I remember us saying, if he was doing this at home, what's he going to do with the actual event team?
Yeah, then FIFA 19 went pretty well for you, Mike, and we'll get on to that. But one question I wanted to ask you was that, obviously, this podcast comes from the Underdog Game Patreon, so a lot of people who joined that, the main aims to improve a lot. How do you feel that you went from Elite 3 to winning a major tournament on FIFA 19? So anyone who doesn't know, Mike, was it in Bucharest? Was it the third Champs Cup?
Yeah, the third one.
Yeah, so you won a Champs Cup, which is like one of the big pro events. How did you go from an Elite 3 player to winning a major pro event?
Yeah, so the start of FIFA 18, as I just mentioned, I was like Elite 3 to Elite 2 player. I think I hit Elite 1 once until like March. And that's when I kind of started watching a few pro players stream on Twitch, asking them for games. And so I kind of built up like a recognition in the German scene, so I could ask another pro players for games. And that's how I really started progressing. And also, when it was time for Weekend League, previously when I lost, I was just going straight into the next game, losing like 3 in a row. And that's when I kind of started taking breaks and splitting my games properly. So I managed to hit Elite 1 constantly from maybe May on. And I think in June I hit top 100 monthly for the first time. So like those 3 months I think were the most influential for me, because I kind of started playing those pro players, the players that are better than me, so I could learn from them.
Yeah, so I think what you said there, that was something that helped me a lot. I remember on FIFA 18, like I hit top 100 monthly a couple times on FIFA 17, but I was working a full-time job, wasn't trying to play as much then. But then on FIFA 18, I tried to go pro, and I managed to just about qualify for the first Champs Cup that year. But then people recognised that I'd made the event, and I started playing Painter, who plays for Footwiz now. I think the first game I ever played against Painter, and I was thinking, I'm pretty good at this game, I'm top 100, I've made an event. I played Painter and he beat me like 7-1. I was like, okay, I'm not actually quite as good as I thought. And then I started playing pros like Painter, and me and Jambu would have a lot of qualifiers, and that really over the year made me a lot better. So obviously not everyone is going to play pros. A gold free player isn't going to play pros to improve. I think one of the major things you're saying, Mike, would be try play people around your level or better than you that you can learn from.
Yeah, definitely. As I just mentioned, like you got smacked in your first game. I think for me it was the same. I played Black Arrow. You probably know him. Yeah, he plays for Berlin now, and we were both watching the same streamer, so I knew he was playing really good. So I asked him for a game, and I think like the first 3 games I lost like 6-0 or 5-0. And so I asked him for tips, and he gave me like few tips on what to improve on. And when I paid attention to those small details that he was better than me, then like kind of I got into the flow and started making the games closer, sometimes even beating him.
Yeah. So yeah, you pick up small tips from.
Yeah.
So definitely, obviously, playing others and people on your level, if not better, is obviously a good way to go. Obviously, one of the things that I love to do is kind of look back on games and analyse them and see how we can get better that way. Is that something that you do, Dullen? Do you have a coach that you work with? Was it something that you did throughout your time to kind of get better? Or is it something that, because I do a lot of pros, I know, they don't even look back at the games. They think, not worth it. Is it something that you do, or don't you?
For me, it just started, I think, this year, because we had our own coach at Wolfsburg now. And so at the start of FIFA 20, I played a lot of rivals and recorded the games, sent them to him, and then we kind of analyzed them together. And I think that has helped me a lot. I made every qualifier this year, 5 out of 5 for Champions Cups. So I think it really helped, because last year I wasn't doing any of those, and I only qualified for 4 out of maybe 15 events.
I mean, your team probably didn't help you last year, to be fair. You've got a bit of a... I think one of the things that I used to say on stream was that, sadly, it's still the case. They've made it a bit better with the restrictions this year, but the esport, I don't want to say it's just pay to win, because like you have examples of people like Mike who managed to make an event with a cheap team, but then we had Mike win a major tournament, and then I don't think you was even at the next event, was you?
No.
It took you a while to get to another event.
It was my last event until, so it was in January, the end of January, and my next event was the LQE in May in Atlanta.
I think that you can take some credit that you winning that event and then not being at an event for a few months changed the rules this year, that they made it if people get top 4, that at an EA major you then get, it's called EA Masters, is it?
Yeah.
Make it to the next event now. I think it was like on 18, Tex was arguably the best player in the world, if not one of them. He won the Barcelona Cup, but he didn't make Worlds because he lost probably a game he got a little bit rigged in the last game to make Worlds, so they changed the rule for that. And then Mike obviously was brilliant at the game, was qualified with Quincy Promise and his team, won a major, but wasn't at that many events that year because of his team, so you had a big effect on the esport in that way, I think I'd be fair to say.
Yeah, I really like the new rules. So you get top 4, you're qualified for the next event, because for me this year I qualified for the first one, but didn't qualify for the second, but I finished top 4 at the first cup. So it kind of motivates you even more when you reach a knockout stage. You're thinking like, yeah, only 2 more wins and I don't have to play the next qualifier, because they're obviously really exhausting.
Adds more to the quarterfinals games as well, doesn't it? So yeah, the qualifiers, for anyone who doesn't know about them, if you make it all the way to the end, it can be like 15, 16 hours, and then like there's people who've like on FIFA 19, I lost the last game a couple of times, lost a penalty shootout for one. I'd spent like 16 hours.
Yeah,
it's
for me the same.
Very draining.
It's not so much that the time that, you know, when you think about obviously other jobs and what people do, it's not the time that's the problem. It's the fact that it's in one sitting and it's a lot of waiting around, isn't it? Because the actual time of you playing games is, well, quite minimal really. But it's the sitting around and waiting, because obviously they're not ran. I mean, I haven't played in one this year, obviously, because of work and whatnot. And to be honest, I'm quite glad people say, why don't you ever go in the qualifiers, Al? You know, you were verified from the second weekend. I'm like, because I'm not booking a day off holiday off work to sit there at my desk, which is what I do pretty much all day anyway. But to me, the way they've ran, I mean, obviously this is just from an outside point of view, they definitely seem like they need adjusting. Jumbo, if they were going to change, how would they do it?
The qualifiers?
Yeah.
I think there's too many people playing everyone. I think what they've done now, where they've split it into phase 1 and phase 2, was a good improvement. Yeah, it did get better, but obviously we haven't had that many chances to test it. But I think it's definitely better. I don't think, you know, people that are going far in every qualifier should then have to go through, you know, I think on PlayStation, what was it, there were like 10 or 11 games of Swiss.
Yeah, PlayStation. Like Xbox, I think the average player you play is probably tougher, but on PlayStation you have to go through like
so I don't
10 rounds. It's crazy.
It's hard to say it without being disrespectful, but if there's someone that's making every event, I don't think they should be having to play. So on PS, if it was 11 rounds of Swiss, you know, maybe 2 or 3 of them games, with all due respect, would be against someone that's probably never making the event at that time. So I think the split between the phase 1 and phase 2 was definitely needed. So fair play to them for doing that.
You have to earn your way to phase 2, and then we had someone like Scaldy, who was a very good player. He hadn't made an event. He went through all the way to phase 1 and qualified for an event. So there is people who can do it, but it's, I don't, like you said, I don't want to say they're wasting people's time. These qualifiers, some people know they won't make the event, they use it to practice, which is good. But having a phase 1 is good because it means that they have to earn their way to play against the top pros.
It's definitely the right way, because I mean, like you say, yeah, no respect to them, but that's people like me. I'd never make an event. I've not got the ability in me to make an event. If I wasn't working, I'd have a go in the qualifiers on that 1 in a million chance something magical happens and I make the event, obviously, because, you know, it could be life-changing to a degree. But I probably shouldn't. I really, other than practice, I shouldn't be playing them because I'm wasting people's time. But then you can't. All they've set is that 27 wins, and that's it. You can play in them. Which I personally, I don't know what you guys think of this. 27 wins out of 30 in weekend league. Yes, you've got to have obviously a level of a fairly decent level of FIFA to you. Don't get me wrong. Rivals should be where how you get in to make yourself available for these qualifiers, because you can get someone that hits 27 wins out of 30 from having a pretty good matchmaking. They might have a very good side, they but not come up against
someone
the best
plays
players.
Their weekend league for
or someone plays their weekend league.
Just, their mate plays them for one weekend at the start of the year, gets them verified, and then you could have a gold-free player playing in the qualifiers all year.
There's 100% people doing that, because there's people who would go 0-3 every single qualifier, and every game they'd be getting beat by 10 plus goals. I think if they want to keep weekend leagues a part of the pro system, which I don't think they should, weekend leagues shouldn't be part of the esport in my opinion, then they should mean you have to get verified every month, because anyone who can make an event will easily make 27 every week. I've not made an event on 19 or 20, and I hit at least 27 pretty much every week, never mind at least once a month. But I agree, moving forward, they should have a points threshold in rivals that you have to be able to play the qualifiers, because that rivals is where you have more competitive games, and you can't just fluke your way there or get someone to play.
Definitely, yeah. No, I completely agree. I think that is the right way that EA need to go. It seems like they're trying to take the feedback. People can say the game's, it's trying to be for these pros. This is what they want. Blah blah blah. I do disagree that that's kind of where EA are going, because I think what says that is the lack of a skill gap in this game. There's not enough of a skill gap for me to say EA are prioritising the pro players over the general consumer. I think it's general consumer first, then it's the pro players. Obviously, all due respect to the pro players.
Yeah, I think the game is still catered to casuals more than pro players, but I don't have an issue with EA doing that, because people said to me before, why are EA doing this and that and blah. At the end of the day, EA are making record profits every year. If I was the CEO of EA, I wouldn't be telling them do this that makes it a more competitive game but stops people wanting to play it. We lose a lot of money. First and foremost, EA are a business that are there to make money. I would like certain elements of the game to be changed to have a bigger skill gap, but then that's also where I think you could bring in some fun modes that suit everyone.
Yeah, definitely. Kind of going back to yourself now, Dullen. I know obviously this year, we don't know where EA are gonna, if they're gonna try and do any online tournaments or whatnot to get stuff through. So we'll write off this year, pretend that not much gonna happen for FIFA 20. What would your goals be for FIFA 21? Where do you want to be?
Definitely, I want to qualify for the FEWC again. Not sure if it's gonna be for FIFA 20, because I made FIFA 19 FEWC, but I played really bad on day one, so it knocked me outside of the tournament. And I really wanted to go far in the tournament. It's obviously the World Cup, so kind of everyone is watching. So I was really excited to play again this year, because I pretty much had the spot locked up. I think I'm currently 11th with the Virtual Bundesliga and the Champions Cup, which would have been coming up. So
you'd have been pretty much definitely in the world, then, yeah.
So my goal for FIFA 21 is to definitely make Worlds again, and also the Virtual Bundesliga Grand Final again.
Yeah.
And hopefully I can participate in the Club Championship next season, which I couldn't this year because I'm still going to school, and it's in the 85 rated mode, and you have to play 2v2 against the other teams. So you have to sit next to your team partner, and it's pretty tough for me because the games are usually on a Wednesday, and my next teammate lives like 5 hours from me away, so I couldn't handle this with school. So if I'm able to participate next year, because I'm done with school after this year, then I really want to also win the club championship.
Yeah, that sounds like good goals. Curious, I did a video on yourself and how you play a good little while back. Are you still rocking the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow?
I'm not.
No, you come away from it.
Yeah.
Are you rocking 4-2-3-1?
It was, yeah, now 4-2-3-1. But I was playing 4-1-2-1-2 narrow the whole year until the 4th Champions Cup in Paris, where I got knocked out of Swiss because of kind of the overload ball side meta.
Yeah.
Everyone, especially against Narrow, was really hard. Don't even know how I managed to qualify using Narrow. But afterwards, like straight after the event in Paris, we had a boot camp with like all the players from my agency, so from Rabona. And that's when I talked to Eisvogel. He was pretty good player in FIFA 18 and I think top 8 in the world at Worlds.
He won the PS tournament, didn't he, at Manchester?
Yeah, he lost to the Sari in Manchester, and don't know who he lost to in the round of 8 in Edwards, but he also got really far. And he told me kind of like a new tactics was 4-2-3-1 with press after possession loss and overload, and that's what I used for the qualifier. And so I've been rocking 4-2-3-1 ever since, but not with the press after possession loss because overload has been patched.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sel, do you want to run through a couple more questions for Dullen?
Yeah, sure. I like the goals that you had for FIFA 21. I think as well, I think we'd all agree that it's pretty impressive that Mike, whilst he's still at school full time, has won a major championship. And for anyone who doesn't know about the major championships, that I think it's $50,000
Yeah,
that
that's
you get
correct.
for winning those, which I would have minded going back to my mates at
He
school
was
and telling.
very popular that Monday
Yeah, no.
after, weren't you?
What did you do at the weekend? Yeah, just won 50,000, you know. So yeah, other than the obvious winning a major, I think I know what you might say as your other answer. But what's been your best moment in FIFA so far in your career?
Yeah, I think the obvious one is obviously winning the major, but I think besides that, probably getting top 4 at the First for Champions Cup this year, or playing for the German national team in like a E-friendly against the Netherlands.
Well, that's pretty cool. How was the experience playing for Germany, getting to represent your country?
Yeah, obviously like a huge honor because it was, I think, around September this year, and we also got tickets for the actual game afterwards, like really nice tickets. So just the whole experience was really nice. Obviously representing your own country, like a huge honor. Especially when I think like 1 year before that, in that September, I was just sitting at home grinding rivals all day and not knowing what could happen.
It's also a country that has a lot of talent. So for you to be selected, that's a massive achievement, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that in terms of the e-sport, probably in my opinion, there's a lot of very good nations like South America, Brazil and Argentina are fantastic. France are up there, but I think the two best nations, I'm a bit biased here, but I think England's up there, and then I think Germany as well. I think you'd agree, Jamie, that Germany right now has the best infrastructure in FIFA. Pretty much every, you know more about this, Matt, but pretty much every single Bundesliga club, I think Bayern don't, maybe Dortmund don't, but nearly every club has full-time pros. Stark, one of the best and most well-known agencies, and so like Jambu said, to get picked for the German national team is a big honour and achievement because there is so many good German players. So talking about the German scene, you represent Wolfsburg, one of the big German clubs. How did that move come about?
Yeah, so my contract was ending right before the World Cup, and I was not sure whether I'm gonna extend my contract with SK Gaming or just look for another team. And then I was with Stark at that time. I mean, I'm still with them, but they changed the name, so...
What's their new name?
Rabona.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so they kind of set up the deal with Wolfsburg because also Benny is playing there, and I'm pretty good mates with him, like ever since we started competing at the start of FIFA 19. So that's kind of how it went through, and I'm really happy there at the moment.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, Benny's a very good player as well. Made numerous events in the last few years. He's a player who improved a lot as well. That I think I played him on the first qualifying FIFA 19 and beat him fairly comfortably. And then in the last 2 years now, how many events would you say he's made?
I think 5 or 6.
Yeah, which making one event in this structure, especially in Europe, is so hard. So it's a good teammate you've got there at Wolfsburg, and Wolfsburg, traditionally one of the biggest German clubs, so that's a really cool move. So we've talked a few formations, but is there a particular, not necessarily what you think the best formation is, but what's your favourite formation to use in FIFA? What do you have the most fun with?
I think the most fun I had with the 4-1-2-2 narrow, because when at the start of FIFA, when I was playing CR7 at right center mid, I had so much attacking power, and it just made fun playing like against a few worse players in Weekend League, for example.
Okay, cool. Yeah, my favourite formation as well ever that I've used, probably FIFA 18 was using the narrow diamond. I like that one. Do you have a favourite player on FIFA? Like, it doesn't have to be on this FIFA, or is there like a particular card on foot that you loved?
Yeah, just to play with, I think the last few years, including this one, it's for me Neymar. I don't know what's about him, but his dribbling kind of is really own to him. And
he has his own animations, doesn't he?
Yeah, you don't get the feel of dribbling with another player than Neymar. So I've had him in my team for the whole year, and I really liked him. Also had him last year.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Neymar obviously is very good foot play, has the 5-star, and then he just feels great on the ball. Are there any, like, moving slightly outside of FIFA but still football, are there any particular footballers in real life, like icons that made you fall in love with football, people that you loved watching them play? They might still play, they might not anymore.
Yeah, for me, the player who really got me into football was Andrea Shavin. I watched like a lot of highlights from him, and then when he was playing at Arsenal, I kind of saw myself in him. Like we had like the same play style. I was like attacking mid, so I don't know what's the case with him, but I really liked his play style. So he really got me into liking football, playing it a lot. I mean, also my dad played it, so it was logical for me to also play at like the local club.
Yep.
So and then I think FIFA 10, my dad bought a PS3 with FIFA, so that's obviously what I started playing then.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Arshavin.
Yeah.
It's not the answer I normally hear when if I ask people that type of question, but he was a very good player. I think his best moment that I remember is he scored 4 against Liverpool in the game, I think. But
yeah,
he was a good player. The last question really we've got for you is, so now you're one of the biggest names in the pro scene. You've won a major tournament, and there's not many people who've actually won any of these Champs Cups, because Tex and Desari have had quite a good grip on them, but you're the youngest winner of one of the Champs Cups, which I don't think we've mentioned, but that's an amazing achievement itself. As you tried to like enter the pro scene and make a career out of it, was there any particular pros that were like role models to you, anybody that you looked up to, that you wanted to be like?
For me, I think the first competitive tournament I watched was the FIFA 17 World Cup, where Gorilla won. So that's so I looked up to him because I think we had like a documentary on Gorilla a year before that, which I saw. I saw he was winning against everyone, like getting all those prize money, and that's when I first ever thought that you could really make money. But obviously I never thought that I was gonna be in that position like 3 years from that. So for me it was Gorilla. And then in FIFA 18, I really liked the playstyle from Kurt and Tex, obviously. For me, it was just when there was the for Champs Cup. There were only 2, I think, in FIFA 18. So for me, it was just hanging in Discord with my real life mates and watching the for Champs Cup. And for me to just play at one of those tournaments like a year afterwards, and I still know my real life mates are in Discord watching when I'm playing, so it's a really nice feeling. So for me, the players are, I think, like Gorilla, Kurt, and maybe Tex as well.
I'm going to, obviously just cautious of time, I'm going to end it here with us, but I'm going to end you on a good question, and I want you to answer it in a sentence, not too many words. If there was one thing you could say to any player who wants to get better, whether that's go from silver to gold, or gold to top 100, or aspiring to be a pro player, what's your number one tip?
If you're trying to get better results in Weekend League, try to split your games, and when you lose, definitely take a break.
So no throwing the controller at the wall, no?
No, definitely not.
Damn it, I thought we could. Well, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much to Zell. Zell, you enjoyed yourself?
Yeah, it's been great. I really enjoyed recording our first podcast.
Jumbo, you had fun?
Yeah, very good, mate. We'll look to get some more of these out. If anyone has suggestions on guests or ideas for these, then feel free to let us know.
Brilliant. And then, Dullen, thank you very much for being our first guest. Have you enjoyed yourself mainly?
Yeah, of course. Thanks for the invite. It was a pleasure to be here.
Thank you very much for coming on. Appreciate it. If anyone has any further questions, anything you'd like us to discuss, you know where you can find us. If you are interested in joining the Patreon, a link will be provided on that as well in all the descriptions on the appropriate websites. Thank you all very much for your time, fellas. Much appreciated. Enjoy the rest of your evenings.